Welcome back to another episode. Hopefully yesterday was a great day with the family for every single one of you guys, and hopefully the next few days are also filled with a lot of relaxation. The last episode I did was on AMD, and we actually took a closer look at some of their client solutions. On today's episode, I want to cover AMD again, and this time I want to go on one of their segments that has high margins, and no, it's not the data center. Today I want to take a closer look at the embedded market overall due to its Xilinx acquisition. So there's a lot of updates happening here and some pretty good news if you are an AMD investor. So let's get started.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
So if we take a closer look at their most recent revenue for quarter 3 of 2022, the company reported $5.6 billion. Most of the growth for AMD actually came from the embedded revenue side, which was $1.3 billion. We can see almost 1,500% year-over-year growth. Many might be looking, hey Jose, what the heck happened? How is it growing that fast? Well, the company just recently acquired a company called Xilinx, which deals with a lot of embedded segments. And here we can see the embedded revenue was driven primarily by the inclusion of Xilinx embedded product revenue, but they're also seeing record aerospace and defense, communication, and automotive sales. And this is the great thing about the embedded market. The embedded market has opened up AMD for numerous more opportunities. I do believe some of my favorites are the ones they mentioned, especially aerospace and defense and the automotive market. So if you go to Xilinx website, you can kind of see all the products that they hit. Here, I want to say these are very unknown products, right? You can see a lot of devices that they have, for example, FPGAs, system on chips. They also have numerous accelerators. So here one may look at them and might have never heard of the solutions or the products that they sell. But these products, if we take a closer look at the solutions, are used by numerous industries. And I do want to say, if you are an investor and if you want to take a quick read of maybe some of the industries that Xilinx hits and why this is a huge growth opportunity for the company, we can see they hit the aerospace and defense, automotive, broadcast, consumer electronics, data center, emulation and prototyping, industrial and vision, healthcare and science, test and measurements, wired and wireless communications. FPGAs and accelerators are super important. Back in my engineering heyday, whenever we were working on some project, FPGAs were always mentioned. So even though it might not be known too much in the consumer world, FPGAs, accelerators, and all these kind of system on chips are heavily needed to continue to improve the innovation we are seeing in technology right now. So again, a lot of their products are pretty boring in my opinion, or not flashy, like for example the AMD EPYC CPU server processor or their AMD Ryzen consumer processors, but I want to say this is a very important market for AMD. If you are enjoying the episode, make sure to hit the thumbs up, and also if you want to support a little bit more, make sure to subscribe using my link at fool.com/Jose. Finally, if you are here, it probably means you are a semiconductor investor. Make sure to check out the #1 semiconductor podcast in the world, or upcoming. The link is right above. Episode 4, I believe, should be released in the next few days. I mean, if we take a closer look at their most recent quarter, we can see this is probably the highest margin segment for AMD. So we can see out of the $1.3 billion of revenue, the operating income for this market was $635, so a little bit less than 50%. None of the other markets, not even data center, comes close. Data center is closer to 30%, nowhere near that 40% that the embedded market is seeing. One of the things that is affecting the embedded market, though, is there is still a huge shortage in this space. And this is something that's pretty interesting, right? We always hear about the semiconductor shortage, and now we're hearing about the overall inventory glut. And we tend to kind of put all these semiconductors in the same place. But the embedded market with a lot of these FPGAs, they still have huge supply chain issues. They still have huge kind of supply constraints, which is causing AMD to, 1, miss out on a good portion of revenue, and 2, but it also causes them to have a nice amount of gain in profit margins. So if we take a closer look at some recent news for AMD, we can see on November 7th of 2022, they extended the UltraScale Plus product portfolio. For those not familiar with the UltraScale Plus, this is one of their main lines in the FPGA market. So they are adding new kind of product lines in here. That's great news. Nothing revolutionary. What I thought was pretty interesting though, on November 16th, AMD Xilinx UltraScale Plus achieves a new milestone. This is the first adaptive system on chip fully certified for automotive functional safety applications. And this is brand new on November 16th of 2022. So we saw that AMD's embedded segment was driven by huge sales in the automotive market, in the aerospace market, and I do believe when we continue to hear news like this, that's going to be the case going on. The automotive market, in my opinion, has numerous tailwinds, as we're kind of not only just going into the autonomous phase, but also just smarter car in general, right? They don't have to be fully autonomous, but cars are getting smarter, and the amount of technology, the amount of semiconductors that they need are going to continue to grow. A lot of these kind of safety functionalities don't even need some crazy tech in them, so a lot of companies can be using AMD Xilinx solutions. So one final news that I believe is super bullish for the company, and investors should be excited. AMD is expected to increase their Xilinx FPGA prices by up to 25%. So here Tech Power Up got a letter that was sent to a lot of AMD customers, and we can see in the letter they mention a few things. First, they're mentioning that, hey, the overall market continues to be on a form of shortage, especially here in the embedded side. So they are working with strong partners and also investing with them. And here we can see some of these lead times are still expected for 20 weeks, even with this kind of investment. So it kind of just shows the overall backlog that the company has in here. And again, I do believe that's a huge bullish tailwind for AMD and the FPGA market, which is a huge segment of this company's total revenue, right? I mean, remember, 1.3 billion out of the company's 5.6 billion. That's a huge chunk. The other thing that they mentioned is that starting in 2023, due to the overall investments that they are doing with their partners to kind of overall help the supply chain shortage, due to the overall kind of inventory they are building up in the long term of things to kind of fill this backlog that they have, they will be increasing prices for some of their Xilinx products. For example, some of them are going to go up 8%, but some others will also jump up 25%. And I do believe this is going to overall help increase the overall margins that AMD sees in this embedded side. I also do believe that AMD has kind of taken a few notes from the consumer side, right? They probably built up a lot of inventory, didn't really increase the price too much, and now they're taking the hit. That's where we see the client side decrease dramatically and actually report our operating income loss this quarter compared to a huge gain last year. So AMD, I do think if they see maybe a turnaround in the embedded market by increasing those prices in the future, it will at least kind of help soften the blow. So I do believe this is very bullish for AMD. Again, the embedded market is super important. I'm happy to see that the embedded market to some extent still is in a shortage. So there's numerous of backlogs in this product, and there's also numerous tailwinds, like I mentioned, in the automotive market. But I do believe the biggest opportunity for them is going to be that aerospace and defense. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me know what you think, and don't forget to check out the AMD consumer episode, which was the previous episode from here. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.